my name is Chloe Holt, and my topic was Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl. So, the narrator of this piece was Linda. She was an enslaved girl since she was born, and she tells the story of her life throughout slavery, experiencing slavery, and when it started to go downhill and how that happened. Family was very important to Linda because she never knew how long that she would have them. Her grandmother and her children were all the protection she had in the course of her dreadful life. Her grandmother especially was very important to her, and in this piece we saw how Linda's grandmother protected her in most situations. This relates to our course closely to other pieces that we have had in the past, and the part of history that we have been reading about is extremely important to how we view events in history. And these pieces have been diving deep into the individual perspectives of the people who experience what we now call history. And we learn to ask different questions and to get our own views of these experiences. And there was 3 pieces that Incidents in the Life of the Slave Girl reminded me of, and it was Her Father with Some Verses, an epitaph on my dear and ever honored mother, Miss Dorothy Dudley, and a narrative of the captivity and restoration of Miss Mary Rowlandson. All of these pieces had individual experiences, whether it be how a wife and a husband are supposed to act, or the narrative of captivity related very closely to this topic because it showed how people were treated back then, especially if they were a person of color. And this specific topic is important because it shows us the harsh reality that was and is slavery today. And Linda experienced a fair amount of joy until the age of 6, when she lost her mistress. That's who she was enslaved to. She passed away, but she realized after this point the cruelness of slavery. Linda was hit, she was beaten, she was violated, she was raped, looked down upon, and ripped away from her family. Her father died, her mother died, her family was torn apart. And she began to realize that she was being treated this way because of this color of her skin, and because she was enslaved. There was this one quote that says, "That which commands the admiration in the white woman only hastens the degradation of the female slave." I know that some are too much brutalized by slavery to feel the humiliation of their position, but many slaves feel it most acutely and shrink from the memory of it. This is so important because it highlights how we view the Black female body as nothing more than a slave, or we don't acknowledge somebody who isn't white, which relates to the research I did. And there was 2 sources, one called Seduction or Rape, that's the short title, and another one called Imagining Massachusetts, both paying attention to the little amount of credit women of color get because they too are raped and violated. And then in my third source, Playing Dead, that's the short name, it paid attention to the morbid tone of Linda. She mentioned multiple times of death because Death to her was better than being enslaved by these people because that's how cruel she was treated. And all of this was just inhumane. In conclusion, the work incidents in the life of a slave girl is not only showing us the realistic version of history and how people experienced it, but it also helps us learn more about the emotions people attach to this.